Today is April 28, 2025. A tornado outbreak does appear likely as we go into this afternoon and evening, and that means we have a large area at risk for tornadoes and severe weather today. Let's get right into the forecast. Again, if you are here, make sure to subscribe to the channel for the latest and accurate, reliable information. We do daily weather forecast videos all throughout the year on this channel. Like the video, give it a thumbs up. The more information we get to more and more people, the more people that we can get this severe weather information out to. Very, very important. Also, share this video with friends, family, and on social media. So let's waste no time getting into it. We have a 4 out of 5 on the risk scale. The closer to 5 you are, the more likely severe weather will be. And across southeastern Minnesota, west central Wisconsin, and northern Iowa, we have that in red, a 4 out of 5 on the risk scale. In orange, surrounding that in a larger chunk of the Midwest, that is a 3 out of 5. Also have a 3 out of 5 down here into southwestern Oklahoma and northwest Texas. In the yellows, a 2 out of 5. In the dark green, that is a 1 out of 5 on the risk scale. Again, the closer you are to 5, the more likely severe weather will be. Now, as we go into tomorrow, we have another 3 out of 5 from Ohio into northwest Pennsylvania and western New York State, and then a 2 out of 5 on the risk scale on Wednesday across North Texas. So a multi-day threat for severe weather. Let's talk about some of the bigger cities that are at risk for a tornado outbreak today. This includes Minneapolis, St. Paul, La Crosse, Madison, Wisconsin, down here into Des Moines, areas like Green Bay back here towards Kansas City. A lot of the big cities up here in the Midwest are at risk. Also down here, we have a 3 out of 5 in orange from southwestern portions of Oklahoma near Lawton and Fort Sill, just west of the OKC metro into northwest Texas, including the Wichita Falls region down toward Abilene. We're going to be keeping an eye on you as well. And the biggest threats we're going to be facing today will be the threat for tornadoes and powerful tornadoes that could be on the ground for a long period of time, especially in this yellow and cherry red color. That's a 10% to a 15% respectively for tornadoes. And you see this hatch mark outlined in black. That's where we could be seeing those powerful EF2 to EF5 variety tornadoes, and they could be on the ground for a long period of time. In the brown, that's a 5% chance. In the greens, a 2% chance within a 25-mile radius of any given point. Big cities in the mix here, at least for powerful tornado potential, will be Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, Minnesota, much of the state of Wisconsin. We need to be on high alert. Much of the state of Iowa, Green Bay, Madison, La Crosse, Duluth, all the way down here to Des Moines, Waterloo, and Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Rockford, Illinois, back there towards Kansas City, keeping a very close eye on St. Joseph as well. And then extending down the dry line, we're watching the OKC metro, Wichita, down here toward Wichita Falls for the potential of at least a couple of tornadoes. Another threat today we'll be facing is some apple to as much as softball size hailstones, anywhere outlined in black here from the upper Midwest down into the southern plains. We could be seeing those apple-sized hailstones upwards to softball size that can do a lot of damage out there. And then we have the threat for some very strong winds here. Wind gusts that could be over 60 miles per hour for portions of the upper Midwest, down in the lower Midwest, and into the central southern plains, keeping a very close eye on that. What is driving this severe weather is a strong low pressure system up there into western portions of Minnesota this afternoon, and that's going to cruise eastward into southeastern Canada and Ontario as we go into overnight tonight. Trailing cold front dry line setup with a warm front all the way up to the U.S.-Canadian border ensures a very ripe environment, very large warm sector for severe weather. 60s dew points going all the way up plumb to Duluth, Minnesota. And the UP of Michigan will ensure a deep warm sector, a lot of those upper 60s. We could even be touching 70-degree dew points. This is what we call air you can wear as you suddenly go outside and you feel muggy just from not even doing a single thing, just standing outside and you're sweating. That is air you can wear just because it's so humid out there. And that's the storm energy you're feeling as well, right? We're seeing storm energy up to 4,000 joules per kilogram. This is very strong storm energy for this time of year and very far north as well. This goes all the way up to central Minnesota, and we have a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere. And watch how persistent it is, that low-level jet this afternoon. This is going to help to keep those storms rotating once they develop here across the Midwest for the tornado outbreak potential. So here's what the radar could look like as we go here at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Couple storms we're watching here, smaller storms for now into southwestern Minnesota and northwest Iowa. We go to the 3-4 o'clock hour. We're watching initiation of a line potentially of thunderstorms from southern Minnesota into northwestern Iowa. Couple supercells possibly developing in central Iowa at this point. And we're also watching Oklahoma down into Texas for the potential of a couple supercells around 4 to 5 o'clock, and then everything gets going around 6 o'clock here this evening across the northern mode, across the southern mode. We could be seeing supercells all the way from the upper Midwest, literally the UP of Michigan, all the way down to North Texas that we need to watch for tornadoes, powerful tornadoes that could be on the ground for a long period of time, very large, giant hailstones that could do lots of damage and some destructive wind gusts, and then that'll continue to scrape across the Midwest and towards the Mississippi Valley as we go overnight tonight. Now, this is what the updraft helicity tracks are. Basically, just shows you where the strongest updrafts will be. And typically, when you correlate a strong updraft to a storm, you're going to see a lot more of those hazards, right? Tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail. Notice the strongest areas here are from northern Iowa into southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Another area perhaps from around the Kansas City metro, and then down here into southern Oklahoma near North Texas there along the Red River Valley. Keeping an eye on those 3 separate areas for potentially some intense storms. Then as we go into tomorrow on Tuesday, April 29th, we have a 3 out of 5 on the risk scale from eastern Ohio into northwest Pennsylvania, western New York State, 2 out of 5 in yellow extending from Vermont all the way back into northwest and western Texas. And then obviously in the dark green, that is a 1 out of 5. The closer to 5 you are, again, the more likely you have for severe weather. And we have the threat tomorrow for more damaging winds, upwards to 70 miles an hour. Hail could be up to apple size there again in northwest Texas and western Oklahoma. Apple size as well up into eastern Ohio and northwest Pennsylvania. And a couple of areas there with a 2% chance of tornadoes. One back here into Texas and Oklahoma. Another one into eastern Ohio, northwest Pennsylvania, and western New York State. This is a 2% chance of tornadoes, so much lower than today, but non-zero, right? We still could have a couple of rotating storms to produce tornadoes tomorrow. Let's look here at the northern mode. This is the mode that looks to be the most concerning with that 3 out of 5 on the risk scale. We got some clusters of showers and storms that'll be moving through around the same time here tomorrow, noon, 1 o'clock, and then they'll start to intensify as they push into Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York State, potentially producing those tornadoes, wind gusts, and some hail, and then they'll continue to fall apart as they move further to the south and east as they get into the mid-Atlantic. How about the southern plains? Here at the same time in the morning hours could have some leftover activity, and that could give way to maybe some outflow boundaries that could initiate a new storm development as we go into the afternoon and evening. And watching that from around Tulsa back to Oklahoma City and Wichita Falls. That will take a run toward the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Not quite getting there, but getting very close as we go into the early morning hours on Wednesday. And then, of course, on Wednesday, if you don't see severe weather Tuesday in the DFW metro, Wednesday is your day. 2 out of 5 on the risk scale in the yellow. Dark green is a 1 out of 5 there on Wednesday. Overall, through the rest of April, going to be seeing some very heavy rainfall totals going through Thursday, May 1st, heaviest across the portions of the Missouri Valley down here into the Southern Plains and Arklatex region. That's where we could be seeing upwards to 5 or 6 inches worth of rain, most likely in North Texas and southern Oklahoma. So flash flooding will also be a concern. Rainfall amounts will still be hefty at times across the Ohio Valley and interior Northeast, upwards to 1 inch. The further south and east you go toward the Carolinas and Georgia and even Florida going to be drying out, and then coastal New England very dry through the rest of April. Now, a big pattern change is expected as we go into the new month of May from Thursday, May 1st through Tuesday, May 6th, really the first 7 days of May. High pressure over the top here in the northern and eastern U.S. will ensure a lot more sunnier conditions and drier weather in a trough or a cutoff low pressure down here into the desert southwest could actually activate the monsoon season very early here and actually lowering the pressure even now near the Gulf Coast for Florida. So what does this mean for temperatures? Well, it's going to be warm from the northern plains and Rockies all the way back toward the Midwest and into the eastern seaboard, and some of these areas could be flirting with record territory, believe it or not, and then cooler air underneath from the west coast into the desert southwest toward Texas and southern Florida, where we're seeing a lot more cloud cover and precipitation. Talking about precipitation, nation, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of it with dry line setups for severe weather from Kansas down into Oklahoma and Texas. So you think you're done with severe weather here? Well, think again, because we're going to have multiple rounds of severe weather going into early May. Drier for Florida, I think, during the first week of May. I think this trend's wetter, though, into the second week of May, perhaps. And we look at the storm energy going through the first few days of May, and notice it's very plentiful there every day across the plains. And this is going to give us numerous rounds of showers and thunderstorms that could be severe. Probably more like looking at a marginal, slight, or enhanced risk for severe weather. High-end severe weather days will be driven by mesoscale features that are not known right now, but we'll keep an eye out for that. Looking at rainfall totals, southern Nebraska, western Kansas, western Oklahoma, much of the Lone Star State of Texas, over into Louisiana. I'm going to be seeing plenty of rainfall here with these dry line setups that could be adding up to 1 to 4, even 5, 6, 7 inches of rain over the next several days going into early May. So a wet pattern here, drying out though for the ag belt, and I know that's what the farmers love to see as they can get the crops planted as we go into the northern plains, into the Midwest, Ohio Valley. So that's some great news for the farmers, although we do still need the rain up there in the long term. So we'll be watching out for rain chances going in toward the middle of May in those areas. Well, thank you all for watching. Stay safe out there today. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep you updated with the latest updates.